What's happening, guys? It's Cooper Carter here for G66, and on this week's Fractal Friday, we're talking about lead boosts and how to get you popping up just right over the mix when you take that solo. So this week's Fractal Friday comes courtesy of a request on the Fractal Audio forum by forum member Moonlight Wiley, who wondered how exactly to set up a volume boost on an FC controller. So I'm going to show you not one, not two, but 5 different ways you can set up a solo, lead, or volume boost in a preset and then access it or activate it via an FC controller. These are easy to set up, they're easy to access, and each one works equally well. It's just up to which one you want to implement in your own playing. So not all of us are lucky enough to have someone at front of house who knows our set well enough to bring us up in the mix just the right amount. So the easiest way to make sure that you do jump up a little bit in the mix when you take a lead break is to simply create a boost. Now, of course, the oldest tried and true method of doing this is simply to just add a drive block. And depending on what you're trying to do and what sound you're going for, this can be a really good method. On an amp that's already pretty distorted, like my Texas Star lead here, that may not always work the best depending on the drive pedal, because overdriven amps tend to, when driven, just compress more, whereas clean amps tend to actually have a noticeable jump in volume. So you can see the difference here with an overdriven amp. A little bit of a jump in volume, but mainly just a jump in distortion and overdrive. Whereas if we go to a clean amp and then we turn on the drive, a huge effect on the sound. So if you are the type of player who likes to play with a pretty clean amp and then kick on a drive for solos, the easiest way for you to do a solo boost may very well be just to stick a drive in front of the amp. Now on our FC controller, if we go to FC Edit, all we need to do to have that drive pedal accessible is to set any one of our buttons to the Effect category function bypass and simply select Effect Drive 1. This will turn on and off our drive. But what if you want something a little more tonally transparent, something that is literally just bringing the volume of your established lead tone, like I've got here, up by a set amount? Well, that's when I turn first and foremost to a filter block. Now you may be thinking, filter block, that's going to change the tone, but the trick here is to set the type to null, which is going to do absolutely nothing to your tone. As you can see, our curve is completely flat here. And in fact, if I start messing with these knobs, you'll see it doesn't do anything at all. But I have gone in and changed the level of this filter block to 3 dB up. So that's just going to give me a completely transparent level boost of 3 dB when I turn this filter on. 3 tends to be what I use for solo boosts. You may like 4. This is something that's entirely up to you, and I encourage you to use your ears and not your eyes with this one. So here's our tone. Filter on. And again, on our FC controller, all we would need to do there is simply select a button, select category effect, function bypass, and then effect filter 1. And we could even go in here to the mini display label and change it to custom and say solo boost. So now you'll see solo boost instead of filter 1 on your pedal board. A third method to implement a solo boost is to use a volume block. Now what I've done here is simply attached my EV1, which is connected to my FC12 with a TRS cable, to the volume parameter here. So I'm gonna right click or control click on a Mac. I've selected FC pedal 1. And what I've done is set the maximum of the pedal, so when I'm toe down, to 10, and the heel down minimum all the way down on the pedal to about 8.5. Now the idea here is that you would treat the 85% volume or the heel down setting of this preset as your normal default preset level. So you would send out to front of house, get everything mixed the way you want, and then for a solo, you would simply raise the level up by pressing the toe down. You might want something more drastic, so you could go 50%. That would be if you're kind of a backing player who takes a very seldom lead and you really want to come up out of the mix. Again, use your ears here to have 10 be a nice bump for a solo. Now, method number 4 involves breaking, so to speak, one of the biggest rules of using effects in parallel. But of course, once you know the rules, sometimes you can break them for the right purposes. So I've got this delay here in parallel, and now what we would usually want to do is run the mix of this delay 100% wet so that we get our dry tone coming on this line, and we get our delay coming from this line, and then we use the level to adjust the quote mix of the delay. So you're adjusting the level where the delay is underneath the dry tone coming through here. But we can use this parallel delay to create a solo boost by cheating in some of the dry tone. So if we take the mix down, we are letting dry tone through the delay so that we have dry tone here, we have dry tone here, and we have delay as well. So this delay block is going to raise the level of the dry tone because some of it is coming through. This can be a great way to get one button access to a solo tone. You add delay and you bring the level up. So here's our tone without the delay. Think of it as a rhythm. And just like with methods 1 and 2, it's very easy to add this as an FC button. We simply pick a button and set the tap to Effect, Bypass, Delay 1. And like we did before, you could change the name of Delay 1 to be Solo Delay. Now you have one button that adds delay and brings the level up. And finally, one more way to add a completely transparent level boost to your tone. All I've done here is gone ahead and copied scene 1 to scene 2. I've named that solo boost, so this is an exact copy of our first scene, but I go into the output block and under scene levels, I've raised the level of scene 2 by 3.5 dB. So we've got scene 1, and we've got scene 2. And you can hear and see that our level has been brought up by 3.5 dB. Now this again is something that's very easy to do on an FC controller. All you need to make this switch happen is 2 scene buttons, which you probably already have on your FC layout. And if you don't, you can simply go to layout 2, which is scenes, and you'll have select scene 1 and select scene 2. Now all you need to do is click between the two to activate or take off your boost. And this doesn't have to be a copy of a tone that's already in your preset. Of course, you could use this boost on any scene using the scene levels. So there are 5 ways to add a volume or lead or solo boost to your preset, each one controllable on the floor and each one a little bit different. I hope you guys saw one that will do well in your preset and works for your playing. Each one has advantages and I like all of them for different uses. Let me know which one you guys like in the comments below, and do make sure to add a comment or to chime in on the Fractal Friday thread with something you'd like to see covered on Fractal Friday. Keep in mind, this episode was a request from a Fractal Audio Forum member. And if you guys would like to dig even deeper into your Fractal unit, whether that's an Axe-Fx 3, FM9, or FM3, make sure to visit classes.coopercarter.com to sign up for the complete Fractal Audio Masterclass series. And as always, for all things Fractal Audio systems, keep it right here on G66. Make sure to subscribe and thumbs up this video, and I will see you guys next week on Fractal Friday.